Hello everyone and welcome to Salim's Kitchen. In today's video I am going to make spring roll pastry, very quick and very easy. So let's get straight to the ingredients. 1.5 cups of all-purpose cake flour, half a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of normal cooking oil, 1 cup of normal tap water, and I have some dry flour which we're going to use throughout the procedure, the making of the pastry. So let's get straight to the making of the pastry. In a large bowl, add in the flour, the salt, and give this a good mix. That's good enough. Remember, if you want to make more pastry, you can double the quantity. So now we're going to add in our water, little at a time. I'll put half cup first, and then just bring it together. Bring all the flour to the water and squeeze, always squeeze like this in your hand. And you can see there's little dry flour there, which means I require a little bit more water. Okay, so let's mix this now. Okay, you can see I added in the water and the flour is all together, but you can see how sticky it is. So in that case, you always add some dry flour to get the right consistency. Sometimes you end up putting more water, so you can always rectify it by adding in dry flour. Just going to add in a little bit more dry flour. Okay, you can see I added in dry flour and I got it back to the consistency that I wanted. It's not sticky anymore. So now I want to knead it a bit on the table. Just tear it open with your fists. And make sure you got all the dry flour in. Remember, if you need a good dough, then whatever you're making, the end result will be good. The end product will be good. This is the easiest way to knead a dough, is by tearing it open with your fists 3, 4, 5 times. You can see inside it's all together. There's no dry flour. So this dough is now ready. You can see it's a good clean dough. So now next step is we're going to roll this out. Okay, so let's roll this out. It will roll out much better if you don't apply any dry flour on the table. So just roll it out like what I'm doing. So once you've got it rolled out, just cut them into small pieces. Tap it a bit so it comes together. There you go, guys. I've cut them into pieces. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. Next step, guys, very simple. Again, no dry flour on the table. It makes it easier to work. Is you roll it like this and you press it down and make them into small rotis. Next one, same thing. Press it down and make them into small rotis. Cut. I turn all the small pieces into small mini rotis. So now take some dry flour and just sprinkle it on the table like this, not too much, so your mini rotis don't stick on the table. So now the next step is we're going to roll these small rotis out. And again, I told you, you always need dry flour because this is going to be used throughout the process of pastry making. So now let's start rolling. Okay, I got my first mini roti. Remember, I haven't applied no dry flour on the table, but now I'm going to apply little on this side and little on this side, so it doesn't stick when you're working with it. So press it down like this here. So now add a little bit more dry flour on both sides. So now we're ready to roll. So let's start rolling. Remember, always roll in a circular motion. You can see it caught right there. You can always unfold it like that and put dry flour. That's exactly where it's catching. So wherever it catches, always apply dry flour and you won't have a problem. If you want to, you can turn the roti around as well. And remember, you don't have to roll it round, but try and get it more or less round. So there you go, guys, as quick as that. Your roti is now rolled. So let me do one more for you. Let me leave this aside. Remember, when you're leaving your roti aside as well, apply some dry flour on the table and leave your roti so it doesn't stick to the table. So let me do one more for you. Again, you take your small roti, put some dry flour on both the sides, and then you press it down on both the sides until the roti gets slightly bigger. And then you can apply a little bit more flour, and then now we're ready for rolling. And remember, you don't have to press your rolling pin. Let the rolling pin do the work for you, because the rolling pin is heavy. See, I can see it's going to start to stick there, so I'll apply a little bit dry flour there. So don't be scared to apply dry flour. Wherever it's sticking, apply dry flour, because our pastry is still going to open beautifully. So there you go, guys. I got the second one rolled out, but bear in mind, try and roll your rotis more or less the same size, so it makes it easy when we're oiling. I'm gonna roll all my rotis and I'll get back to you. So there you go, all my small rotis have been rolled out, and you can see the size is more or less the same. So now let's get straight to the oiling process. I got the oil on the table here. What you want to do is move all the dry flour aside so you can work nice and clean. Let's get the first roti and put it down. And then I always use my hands to oil. You can get your hands in there, so I can actually feel that the oil is going all over. You can use a brush if you want to. If you don't like to mess your hands, that's fine, but make sure all the ends are oiled properly. Otherwise you're going to have a problem when you're opening, when you're separating them. So that's the second roti. And always don't press too hard, because the rotis will start to move. Remember, they're sitting on oil, so they'll start to move. So as quick as that, no dry flour down, just your roti and oil. And the good thing about this dough is that there's no resting time for this dough. So that's a good thing. You can make it and work with it immediately. There's no resting time where you need to set the dough for 15 minutes or 20 minutes to set it aside for it to set. So you work with it immediately, just like how I'm doing. Just make sure the oil is all over. You can feel with your hands, with your fingers, you can feel all the dry spots, and you can cover it nicely with the oil. That's why I use my hand. So we're almost done now. We've got 3 more rotis to go. You can see how I'm running my hands, making sure the ends are oiled properly. Next roti. You can even take it and pour it like this with your hand, and then rub. You can see I'm rubbing very lightly. Okay, we just got 2 more to go. I want to do the entire oiling process with you, so you can see how it's done properly. So if you're making pastry for the first time, it'll be easy for you to make it. So now we've got our last one that goes on top. Remember, the top one you don't oil, you leave it, and then now you can always turn it around and maybe set it if it moved slightly. So now this is ready for rolling. Now I'm going to roll this into a bigger roti, right? So now but what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside like this, and this messy area here, I'm going to clean it up, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, you can see my workspace is now clean. I wiped up all the oil. So I'm going to bring my big, I'll call it a big roti, because it's going to end up big when I'm going to roll it. So what you do is you put some dry flour But one side, you don't put your hand and spread the flour, then you turn it around immediately and you put more dry flour on the side, and then you always hold the two ends like this, guys. Very important, always hold the two ends like this when you're turning it. Again, add some dry flour, again turn it and then press it out. Again, you keep on turning it and you press it out so all your rotis stick together and they don't slide. That's why I'm doing this. And I put the dry flour so it doesn't stick on my hand or on the table. See, now I'm ready for rolling, so I'll apply some dry flour here. I'll turn it one more time and put some dry flour on the side as well. And now we're ready to roll out the big roti. Remember, when you're rolling out the big roti, just roll little at a time, like what I'm doing. And do not press your rolling pin. And then you can see the flour dried up there, so I'm going to add a little bit more dry flour so it doesn't stick to the rolling pin. So you can see how I'm rolling it. I'm rolling it in sort of like a long way. I'm rolling it out this way first. Roll it out this way first. And keep on turning it like this here. Don't be afraid to turn it now, because the pastry won't come loose. It's all together now. Just going to add some dry flour there. Okay, now that I've rolled it long like this now, and let's turn it. Apply a little bit more dry flour and let's roll this way. But remember, I'm not pressing, I'm just running the rolling pin. Make sure all your corners are rolled out, otherwise you'll end up with hard corners. See how the shape has changed now? Right, you can even turn this one here as big as it is. You can still turn it like that. Apply more dry flour and run it. And remember, we're going to get nice thin pastry. Always look at your ends and roll your ends out properly. Okay guys, I think this is it. I've rolled it to its max. I can't roll it anymore because it will be too thin. So now that I've got that, guys, next step is I've cut myself a square shape measurement using a cardboard. So I get a nice square pastry. I'm going to try and get 2 cuts here. So place it on your big roti like that, and get a knife. Right guys, I got the cardboard there, I got my knife. Now we're ready to cut out our first square. So run your knife alongside the cardboard, just like what I'm doing. And then we come this side. And this side. So we're cutting off a nice square here. One more side, so I need to come over this side. I think that should do it. So there you go. We got our first square. When you're removing it, always fold it like that, and then pick it up on the center point and put it in your hand like so, and then you can open it up and leave it on the table. So now this is ready for toasting. So let's cut out another square quickly. Let's put this there on that same line that we cut off. Bring this down. One more this side. So there you go. The next square is cut out. The first one, the corners was holding a bit, so let me make sure the corners are out here. Again, fold, lift in your hand, pull. If it's stuck, then just cut it out, and then unfold it and leave it on the table. So now what you can do here is, you have 2 options here. You can cut this straight out and this can become samosa pastry, and you can cut this straight out, and this can become samosa pastry. But if you don't want to it to be samosa pastry, I'm going to show you a secret that I discovered using these offcuts, and so keep on watching the video, and I'll show you in the end the secret and the magic of what you can do with this here. So now let's toast our pastry. In an oven tray, again, easiest way to put your pastry in without damaging it is always do it like that there, and like that. So now we're ready for toasting. So I got my oil. Before I put it in the oven, just put little oil in the center. This will tell you when you need to turn it, because it will rise at that exact spot where I put the oil. So now I'm going to pop this in the oven. Okay guys, I'm putting it in the oven. Remember, I preheated the oven at 180 degrees for 30 minutes. So again, a secret is make sure your oven heat is good and preheated 30 minutes prior to toasting your pastry. So I've got it in there now, and the moment it starts to rise in the center, I'm going to turn it. Okay guys, it has risen on one side. I want to show it to you. You can see how it puffed up. So now I want to show you how to turn it. Remove it from the oven, and then use your hand. It's very hot. Be very careful you don't get burnt, and you just turn it like that. Turn it like that, and then you put it back in the oven. So it took 3 minutes or so to toast like this on one side. So now I'm gonna leave it in for like another minute or so, and then I'm gonna show you and remove it. Okay guys, after 1 minute on the other side, it's finally done. So now I'm gonna separate them for you and show you how it separates. You can cut it now. Okay, let's start opening the pastry. Always open from the center. As you can see how beautiful it's opening. And it's very hot, so if you want to, you can wait for it to cool down and then separate it, or you can open it immediately. Yes. I'm going to start opening it for you. Now what you want to do is you want to start opening it in the center. So you can see how beautiful it's opening. It's opening with ease. And then now let's remove. So you can see how thin the pastry is. You can see how thin the pastry is. Beautiful pastry, absolutely thin, absolutely flexible. See, I can squash it in my hand like this and I can open it. Absolutely beautiful, and beautiful for your spring rolls as well. When you put your filling like that, like so, and then you roll it up and you stick it there, and you have your spring roll. So I have a damp cloth here. Always keep it covered in a damp cloth when you're separating them. In that way they will stay moist and they won't dry out. And you can see how beautiful they're opening. This is the top one. This is the top one will always break and get dry a bit. So that one there you can leave it one side. So but you can see how beautiful it opens, and it's absolutely thin. So the thinner they are, the more crispy it is. So I'm going to open all my strips, guys, and remember, keep it in a damp cloth and get back to you. Tell me when. Okay. All my pastries have been separated, and so it's very easy to make your spring roll. You always start in this corner here. I don't have no filling to show you, but it's just like that. You put your filling in there and you close it up like this here, and then this end you close it like that, this end you close it like that, and you roll, and this piece here you stick it, and then you roll it until it's done, and you get your beautiful spring rolls. You can see how thin it is. It's absolutely thin, so when you fry it, it's going to fry quickly, and it's going to be absolutely crispy and divine. So there you go, guys, as simple as that. Pastry for spring rolls. Follow my step-by-step video and you will be able to make beautiful spring rolls like this here. Spring roll pastry. Now, guys, I want to show you the secret. I'm just going to cover this up like this here. So remember, always keep it in a damp cloth. So let's come back to this here. Remember, I told you we'll come back to this. This was the offcuts, And then I said you can use this as samosa pastry, but if you don't want to, instead of throwing them away or frying them, let's bring it back together. You can just tear it open like this here and bring it back to its original form, which was a dough. So just dough it like this. So you bring it back to its original form. Remember, they were all in layers because we oiled them. So we're going to bring it all back together. So you can see now I brought it back to its original form. You can see it's all back together, and this is the best dough for puri. It makes the best puri, the softest puri and the crispiest puri, and I discovered this year, and so I'm sharing it with you. So now let's make the puris. Okay, roll it out like this here, long, very similar to how we're making our pastry. And then you can cut it depending on how big you want your puris. Just cut them into small pieces like this. Remember, every one will be one puri. So now instead of throwing this beautiful dough away, you can make beautiful puris with them. You can make them round very easy. Okay, so now we got all the small rotis done. I'm going to roll them out for you. We turn them all into small rotis once again. Same procedure. Press it down. Put some dry flour on both sides, just like how you was rolling for your pastry, for your spring roll pastry. And now let's make this round. Roll like that. One like that. Turn. Again the same thing. Turn it over. You can roll it according to how you want it. If you want it very thin, you can do that. So there you go, guys. Small roti down, dry flour. Press it down nicely so dry flour gets everywhere. Start rolling this out now. Remember, you can make square puris, you can make round puris, you can make any shape puri, but the round shape puri is very popular. So that's why I'm rolling it around. So there you go, guys. Now I'm going to deep fry this for you and show you what beautiful puris we're going to get. Guys, the oil is hot. I put it on high heat. So now let's fry our puri in hot oil. You see I threw it in now. So now I can see it's coming up. So I'll put your spoon there and just hold it from coming up. Prevent it from coming up. This will help you to puff. Look at that, guys. Remember, I never press it down. I just held it down. And you can see one side turned brown already. It's thin, so it fries very quickly. And you can see how beautifully it puffs. So this is what I discovered. I discovered the best dough for puri. Look at that. This is absolutely beautiful. And then get your a spoon like this here and drain out all the extra oil and set it aside on a plate. And look at that beautiful puri, guys. Remember, this was flour that we were going to throw away, and then I turned it into a puri dough, and you can see what beautiful puri we have. I'm going to fry one more for you. I'm going to fry one more for you. In it goes. Remember, while it's frying, put your spoon there and hold it and stop it from coming up. Do not press it down, just put your spoon there and stop it from coming up. This will puff it for you. This is a secret for puffing your puris. Look at that, how beautifully it puffed. And then once it puffed, turn it quickly. You can see it's already golden brown on one side. And then leave it for maybe 5 seconds, 5 to 7 seconds, and then you remove it. Drain out all the extra oil, and there you go, guys. Beautiful, beautiful puri. Now remember what these puris were made of. Don't ever throw your offcuts away when you're making pastry making for samosa or for spring rolls. Don't ever throw it away. You can turn them into beautiful puris like this here, and they are absolutely tasty. And then so there you go, guys. We killed 2 birds with 1 stone here. There's our spring roll pastry, beautiful spring roll pastry. And there's our beautiful puri that we made from the offcuts. So please remember, do not throw your offcuts away. and you can turn them into beautiful puris like this here. So guys, thank you for watching. Please like and share, and please do not forget to subscribe. Until my next video, take care, God bless, and peace out.